clenching and grinding your teeth, especially like as you're falling asleep, balling yourself up. Like if you're sleeping in fetal position, you're probably not in a good mentally emotional space. Being a girl and having to do your hair when you're in an emotional spiral period is a task. Physical symptoms, that loss of interest and persistent overwhelm. So if you're feeling any of these things, one or all of these things, probably because you're spiraling, girl. My ability to say F that and doing it anyway, it's bucking against the system. It's being a rebel to my own depression that is trying to keep me hostage and trying to make me a slave. Like, no, baby, let me go, let me live, let me breathe. Who said I wanted to live a life of survival? Like, no, baby, I want to live a life where I'm thriving, okay? I want to live a life where I'm actually living. Here are 3 ways to climb out of an emotional spiral. Move your body, lean into connection, your spiritual connection, lean into your social connection. Take small daily action. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Ash. If you've been here for a while, you know it's been a minute, and I've actually really missed you guys. I really missed this outlet, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been a rough couple of weeks. Sometimes it just isn't great and you just have to sit in that, and that's okay. That's real. That is what it is. Like, obviously you don't want to drown in self-pity or drown in negative self-thoughts or drown in depression or drown in anxiety, but sometimes those feelings are there and they're real and they're heavy and they're sitting, and the weight of it is like, oof, overwhelming and sometimes seemingly unbearable. It's almost one of those things where 2 things can be true. You know, life doesn't have to be trash for you to be feeling at an emotional low point. For me, it's not that life has been bad. It's been my own emotional discourse of just going through a transition, and what feels like transition after transition after transition, and constantly grieving old parts of myself, grieving old parts of my life, old experiences, people even, and that repetition of grief can just feel heavy at times. Even when you're doing all the things to get you out of it and make you feel good, sometimes that's just not enough. For me personally, I know that I preach a lot on this channel about habits, about consistency, and I, for one, have been very inconsistent in my habits, and it has shown up actively in my life every day. Sometimes we wait on our feelings to inspire us to take action, but what it is that taking action is what will inspire the feelings that we want. It'll inspire that mood that we want. It'll inspire the energy that we want to sit in. And I know I have been slacking. Have you ever been in a place where you're just not doing all the things that you know would make you feel balanced or make you feel even, make you feel whole, make you feel nurtured, and feeling anxious about not doing those things, but still not wanting to do those things at all, and therefore just not doing them? And then now you're stuck in this loop, this really crappy loop of not doing anything, feeling anxious and guilty about not doing anything, continuing to not do anything because of how anxious and guilty you're feeling, and you're just you're just overthinking yourself into a loop of inaction. And that has been me these past few weeks. And it's not to say that I haven't been moving my body, I haven't been going outside, I haven't been doing any of the things at all. It's to say I've been very inconsistent. I do them here and there when I feel like it. It's no wonder I've been feeling so low. It's no wonder my emotions have been so dysregulated, why my nervous system has not been calm. Even though I know that, it hasn't made it any easier to take action. At some point, you just kind of have to do. Like, I wish I had better, more thoughtful, more meaningful advice to share with you, but sometimes you simply just have to do. Like, when you're in those moods, and granted, I'm not a professional, I'm not your therapist, I'm not here to replace your therapist, I'm not here to override any recommendations or whatever you're getting from therapy, solo therapy or group therapy. I'm just here to share my personal experience with you. If there's anything I learned, is that sometimes you just have to do. I can sometimes be like, oh, but I don't feel like it, or oh, it's that time of the month, or oh, I'm sick. Give myself an excuse to just do nothing in a sense. And sometimes I need to do nothing, right? There is a healthy balance of doing and not doing. But you know, when you're overindulging in inactivity and it's to the point where it's now unhealthy. And I feel like that's where I kind of got. I was still, like I said, pouring into myself a little bit here and there in some ways, still, you know, pouring into my friends, allowing them to pour into me, but I wasn't very consistent with it. And I feel like I lost weeks. That's how I looked at it for a while. I looked at it as a loss of time, time, but that will only just further the spiral. So in order to get out of that spiral, I had to start slowly just doing things to help me shift my mindset. So things that I was procrastinating was like, let me just do this one thing, then let me just do this one thing. And it was just small things like, let me just send this email, let me just reply to this email. Then all of a sudden I have like a boost of energy, a little boost of confidence. And it's like, okay, well, let me wash the dishes. Okay, well, let me edit this brand video. And slowly but surely building up the just ability and just the capacity to do again. I can't say like, I'm at tip top shape, but I am feeling a lot better. And if any of you out there have been having a hard past few weeks or past few months even, you're not alone. I can relate. I'm sure there are many people on the internet and in your real life that you know that can relate. And sometimes we don't open up to each other vulnerably enough and honestly enough to find those relatable points, right? Because we don't want to add weight to our friends and weight to our family members. They're going through their own things, but sometimes we just have to shoulder all the things we're going through together and also obviously lean into God, which I also have been slacking on. It's just like we're not doing this by ourselves. I just wanted to kind of acknowledge, the loop that we can get stuck in, acknowledge how anxiety inducing it is, acknowledge how depressive it feels, acknowledge how overwhelming it can be and overstimulating it is at times, and just say that it is okay. But don't keep yourself there. I promise, please don't keep yourself there. That is what I have to remind myself. Like, girl, I know it's hard. And I know it's one of those easier said than done things, but do not keep yourself stuck there, okay? Just breathe. Okay, let's remember who you are, first of all. Let's stop playing about yourself. Let's talk to God about it, because why are you doing it alone? Okay, let's call up a friend. Let's call up a family member. Let's call up someone that you're close to, someone that you trust, someone that is not gonna judge you, right? Someone that is just gonna allow you to vent if you need to vent without any solutions. And someone that is also gonna provide you solutions, should that be what you need. But let's be mindful. Let's be very demure here, and let's, ask our friends and ask our loved ones their capacity. Sometimes if I know I need to kind of like dump or get something out and vent or even ask for some advice, I have to ask, hey, how are you feeling? Like, what is your capacity right now? Like, do you have space for me to lean on you in this moment? Because if they're already going through something and we don't take the time to step out of our own stuff and ask them what's happening, we won't even know that they don't even have the capacity for this. And that could put like a strain on a friendship. So you always want to be conscientious, not selfish about it. I've talked about it before, but sometimes when we're wallowing in our feelings and we're feeling really down, we can get very single tracked and only focused on our problems. And it can create this very like selfish action around us and selfish way of like us just like operating and moving through life. It can be borderline narcissistic, and not to say that, any of us are narcissistic per se, but it can border onto some of those traits. Always want to make sure we're asking our friends, our loved ones, if they have the capacity. So I want to talk about how to recognize when we're falling into these emotional spirals, because it's very small things, right? That before we even can sometimes acknowledge or understand, or before the emotion even hits us of what we're feeling, you start noticing very small like changes in your everyday feelings and your everyday habits that let you know, okay, my capacity is shrinking, most likely because there's some area of my life that I'm neglecting to pour into, or multiple areas of my life I'm neglecting to pour into. And because of that, I'm starting to spiral. Things are starting to shift. I'm not even noticing it because, like I said, the shifts are so small at times. So here are 3 ways. Obviously, there are more, but here are 3 ways that you can notice when an emotional spiral is about to come on. So the first sign I want to talk about is persistent overwhelm. Tell me if this sounds like you. Constantly feeling overwhelmed by the smallest, tiniest tasks or inconveniences. When our mind starts to spiral over simple to-dos, over simple things going wrong, over just simple aspects of our daily life, that is definitely a sign that you're probably approaching an emotional spiral, if not already there. Just constantly feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated by everything. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Because ADHD comes with a little bit of feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated at times, but you can tell the difference from just your general overstimulation. Like maybe if you're just have sensory sensitivity versus being like completely overwhelmed and overstimulated by every small thing. Oh, maybe you stubbed your toe. Like, sure, that hurts. Sure, that sucks. But now that has ruined your day. Maybe that has ruined your next 2 days, or being overwhelmed just by answering emails that you always answer, that you very easily know the answer to, but can't bring yourself to answer back. Sometimes just being overwhelmed by texts. Maybe you see a text from someone that says, "Hey, what's up?" And you're like, "Oh my God, I can't respond now. It's been days or weeks since you've responded to this person." And you didn't mean to not text back, but you were overstimulated when you saw the text. And so you just set it to the side and, out of sight, out of mind. A second sign I want to talk about is a loss of interest, just a loss of interest in the things that normally make us feel good or that we're normally interested in. For me, I love to read. I love getting outside. I love, love, love fresh air. There's nothing more I love than being in the sun. But when I'm overwhelmed by the simple act of just stepping outside and breathing in fresh air, even doing it in the privacy of like my rooftop, say maybe I don't want to be around people, when just stepping out into my fire escape is overwhelming and I'm disinterested in it, it's like, okay, girl, what's happening? When I start losing interest in watering my plants, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I lost the plant. This never used to be here and it's been replaced. I lost the plant because I just didn't have interest in watering them. That was just such an easy part of my day. And then it just would be like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks and I have not watered the plants at all. Loss of interest in watching maybe your favorite TV shows, a loss of interest in whatever your favorite hobbies are. I haven't been to aerial hoop in weeks, and that is one of the places that I feel the most free. So it's crazy to me that I have had zero interest for weeks about going, and then guilt, anxiety, and shame about the fact that I've not been going, which obviously did not help. But yeah, just that general disinterest in the things that you normally love is an obvious, very obvious indicator that, okay, something is off. Why do I not want to do this? Why is this making me scrunch up my face and be like, brother, like why? Why am I annoyed and irritated by this thing that I know I love? When those things that we love and those things that used to come to us easy start feeling burdensome, take a beat and check in with yourself. Check in with your habits, check in with your routines, check in with how you've been pouring into yourself, check in with how you've been nurturing yourself, because there's somewhere that there is lack, somewhere that you have neglected, and not on purpose, but somewhere that you just have been overlooking. And you need to do just a little check-in, a little assessment with yourself to see where have you been possibly neglecting yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, socially. Check in with all the different areas of your life and see what's going on, see what's changed, see what's shifted, maybe that you haven't even noticed. The third indicator I want to touch on is physical symptoms. If you're at the physical symptom stage, you've been in that emotional downfall. You've already spiraled and you're now feeling it physically. You might not be in the pits of it, it might not be at the depth of it, but you've already definitely entered that valley. When you start to just feel tired for no reason, no matter how much you're sleeping, you're still tired. No matter how much you're sleeping, you're not really getting good sleep. You're getting interrupted sleep, or you're just getting just poor quality sleep. You're just waking up still feeling tired, even though you've gotten your 7, 8, however many hours you need to normally operate. When you're feeling a lot of physical tension, you could be feeling this tension emotionally, mentally, physically. It could be like tight in your shoulders, tight in your jaw, tight in this like forehead area, clenching and grinding your teeth, especially like as you're falling asleep, balling yourself up. Like if you're sleeping in fetal position, you're probably not in a good mentally emotional space. Unless you're, at that time of the month and you just need some comfort. If you're sleeping in a fetal position, it's most likely because you have some physical discomfort, and that physical discomfort was likely manifested by emotional, mental, and spiritual discomfort. So definitely check in with how you're sleeping. Are you sleeping balled up? Are your fists clenched? Are your jaws tightened? Are your teeth grinding? Are you feeling just like not at ease? Not just like, huh. Like, has it been a while since you just like dropped your shoulders? Like, are you just constantly like rigid? When you feel that physical discomfort, and maybe you've not even done anything different. Maybe you're still stretching and different stuff, and it's just like, why am I feeling so sore? Why am I feeling so tense? Probably because You spiraling, girl. And these are signs. I'm not just like pulling these signs out my butt. These are signs that I notice within myself when I'm kind of approaching those downfalls. And there are signs that I'm trying to be more aware of personally. And there are signs that I feel like you all should be more aware of as well. Because when we can be aware of small little triggers that are taking us into a negative space, taking us into that emotional downfall, we can start being like, oh, okay, wait a minute, hold on here. Pause, 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 pause. It just invites more moments of pause. More than anything, awareness should bring in more moments of pause so that you can assess. And that is the best thing about just like having this awareness and being able to recognize these signs, is that you give yourself a space to pause and assess and kind of like regain control of your actions and regain control of your habits and regain control of your ability to emotionally regulate. These are signs I want to start paying attention to. These are signs I was journaling about, and these are signs that I think would be good for you to recognize as well. Of course, there are other signs. I could really like go down the list, but then we would be here all day. Within you personally, when you're starting to see yourself take small shifts and going in a direction that you don't really want to be in, going into an energy space that isn't really favorable to you. I can't tell you better than you. You know yourself better than I do. And I know myself. So I can tell when it's coming on. And those are 3 top indicators for me that I can always see that it's manifesting. Like I said, physical symptoms, that loss of interest, and persistent overwhelm. So if you're feeling any of these things, one or all of these things, check in with yourself, please, and take care of yourself, because you deserve to be treated like the divine being that you are, okay? And don't let anyone or anything make you believe otherwise. Now, it wouldn't be right for me to talk about being in an emotional spiral, what that feels like, my experience with it, and how to recognize when you're approaching one without also giving you ways to climb out of it. And if you've watched a few videos back, I've talked about habits to have to kind of like avoid an emotional spiral. But once you're already there, baby, things are real different, right? Things are different. It's always different when you're looking at a situation from the outside versus when you're in the situation. It's always good to know how you can prevent a downward spiral from coming on. But here is how to get out of a downward spiral once it's already happened. And this is not an overnight fix. These are not just easy peasy overnight changes, quick, fast, in a hurry. Like one day you're sad and the next day you're happy. No, this is something that takes, again, I hate to say it, but consistency, right? It takes you showing up for yourself every single day. Like it takes action every single day. And I know it could be like, oh, I can just skip today. You can, but you're gonna feel it. Did I lose the plot? Not me rambling and lost the plot. Let's get back on track. Here are 3 ways to climb out of an emotional spiral if you're already in the depths of it, like your girl was. Take small actions every single day. Every single day. I know I kind of like mentioned that a little bit earlier. Just doing simple things like responding to emails or washing the dishes, just like tackling things that I was procrastinating on was just kind of like boosting me up. But there is something to that. Taking a small action every single day is a good way to start slowly building yourself out of that valley to hit like a peak and hopefully like just plateau for a while, right? Because we don't necessarily need highs and lows all the time. Like sometimes it's okay to just hit a peak and hit a little plateau and just like feel normal, feel even, feel balanced. So do one small action that will help break your mental freeze. So whether that is making your bed, waking up and brushing your teeth, responding, like I said, to an email, getting dressed for the day, especially if you work from home, throwing on something other than pajamas and sweats, doing your hair, maybe washing your hair. Being a girl and having to do your hair when you're in an emotional spiral, period, is a task, okay? There should be an Olympic section of just all the little things you gotta do, especially when it's that like time of the month. But anyways, let me not lose the plot again. Do small tasks that will help kind of just like build your confidence again and just help start shifting your mindset. Oh, I've been procrastinating this thing for weeks, or maybe you've only been procrastinating it for a few hours, but boom, you did it. Weight off your shoulders. All of a sudden your chest feels lighter. It's like you got air back, you got some oxygen, you can breathe. There's nothing like procrastinating so hard that you start feeling like there's no air in your chest, like you can't breathe. Like that is such a debilitating feeling. And I'm sorry if that's where you are. And I don't mean to trigger anyone, but doing small daily actions that you know will improve your quality of life, whatever that looks like for you, will help just start kind of shifting your mind a little bit and just like building confidence one small brick at a time. A second way, and a very tried and true method that you can always have available to you, is lean into connection. Connecting with your divine power, connecting to your faith, connecting to your source, and leaning into that spiritual connection, whatever your spiritual belief is, leaning into that connection and reminding yourself that you are never alone, even when you're physically alone, even when you're feeling super duper 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 lonely. Like, you have something to lean into. And if you have community around you, lean into that as well. Whether it's a friend, a family member, whoever you know that you can trust to be super vulnerable with without all of that judgment, lean into those connections. Again, check in, see what their capacity is like. But 9 times out of 10, if you really need them and they are your loved one, they will be there for you. They will find capacity. All of a sudden, God will give them the capacity to have for you to pour into, so that their cup is not empty and they're helping you kind of like empty your cup of the things you don't want so that you can fill it up with the things that you need. I know I love to self-isolate. It's so easy in a way to isolate when we're going through things. To me, it's like the easier thing to do, to be alone. And I know that's not the case for everybody. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do, to be alone, but it can be very easy to self-isolate. So lean into intentional, genuine, vulnerable, just transparent connections that you have with people. Don't just lean into people for the sake of connecting now. Be intentional about who you are allowing into those vulnerable moments of your life. It doesn't always have to be a deep talk either. Sometimes it could just be a simple hangout. Let's go take a walk. Let's go grab some ice cream. Let's go play tennis. It doesn't always have to be so heavy and so serious. Sometimes it could just be very fun and very joyous, very quick. But leaning into connections either way, don't skip that part. And it really wouldn't be me to not include movement. Obviously, the third way to climb out of an emotional spiral is by moving your body, baby. Like, y'all know how important movement is to me and my movement practices to me. And the fact that I've just kind of been like not having the desire for it. Again, it's not about being motivated. It's just about doing it anyway. And my lack of motivation has allowed me to spiral. And my ability to just say, F that, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm trying to curse less. My ability to say F that and doing it anyway is bucking against the system. It's being a rebel to my own depression that is trying to keep me hostage and trying to make me a slave. Like, no, baby, let me go, let me live, let me breathe. Like, I'm trying to thrive out here, and you out here just letting me survive. Like, whoa. Whoa, who said I wanted to live a life of survival? Like, no, baby, I want to live a life where I'm thriving, okay? I want to live a life where I'm actually living and I'm not just existing. I don't want to just be there. I want to be an active participant in my life. I got to move my body to do that. I ain't trying to give you nothing that I am not telling myself. Like, this morning, I said, get your butt out of bed and get your butt into that gym, okay? It is Monday. You love to start your week with a gym in the early morning just to like get your butt up, get your butt outside. You see how I'm not cursing. Just get up, get out of bed, and go do it. And granted, you don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. to do it like I did, but do it anyway. However it fits into your schedule. I know some people work really early mornings, so maybe you go to the gym as soon as you get off. Maybe you want to kind of wash off the workday and then pop to the gym. And maybe you don't even like the gym. Hot take, but maybe you don't like the gym. That's okay. I ain't here to judge. You don't gotta like the gym. Like, if the gym is not your thing, the gym is not your thing. Do whatever you need to do to move your body to feel good. So if that's not the gym, go take a walk, stretch, hit a quick yoga, hop on a YouTube video, whatever it is you need to do to get yourself going, go. But move your body, move and groove your body. I'm challenging myself to move my body every day for the next 90 days. That is just for me because I want to make it muscle memory again. I commit to this for 3 months. There's no way this won't just be easy. Like, whether or not I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Get your together, okay? Get your up and get it together. I literally got to talk to myself like that in the mirror. I'm not coming here being fake, right? Like, I was going through it, very much was. and kind of still am, but I'm not at the low of it like I was. I'm not in the depths of it like I was. Move your body, lean into connection, your spiritual connection, lean into your social connections, and take small daily action. There's a lot of reasons why you might be in an emotional spiral. And if you are not going through it, check in with your friends and check in with your loved ones that you haven't heard from a while, because 9 times out of 10, they're not just busy, they might be going through it. Use that superpower and pour into others. You know, be that shoulder for others, call others, check in on others. I know you'll have your strong friends. If you're not the strong friend, call up your strong friend, because I'm sure they would love to hear from you. Like I said, I know texts and calls can be overwhelming, so sometimes you just gotta skirt pull up. Like if you really got a connection like that and you a real one and that's your day one or whatever, like just pull up on them. They might even give you slack, but they will appreciate that love. I know I would, so I can't imagine why anybody else wouldn't. Y'all see, like I keep backing up and backing up and backing up because like the sun, it's like golden hour kind of in my apartment. Ooh, it's like really nice, but it's just like at a point of like, boom, it's right there in the window. This was just kind of a very like candid conversation and just a little check-in, just a little life update to say, hey, I'm alive, I'm still breathing, I'm still here, I'm still rocking with y'all still rocking with me. I appreciate it, and in advance, I love you for it. I've been seeing a couple of comments in the past few weeks where I've been inactive that have been posted on past videos, my most recent video, and they mean a lot to me, and honestly, being vulnerable and creating this space. So I really do appreciate that stuff, because when I'm not in the best space, reading that really lights me up. It really makes me feel good, and it really reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it reminds me of the bigger point and the reason that I created this YouTube channel to begin with. I just appreciate you guys for even indulging me and even trusting me with some of the things you've been sharing in the comments. And obviously they're public comments, so I'm not getting crazy, but I appreciate it, and I thank you for seeing me. I thank you for holding space for me, and I thank you for seeing yourself and holding space for yourself and allowing me to hold space for all of us. So thank you so much. Before I close out this video, I do want to get into a quick little breathing, because I feel like I was nervous coming into this. I had a lot of anxiety, and now I've done it. Now I feel like I got a little bit of crackhead energy, right? Like that anxiety has just turned into like, oof, heart palpitations a little bit. So I feel like I need to just emotionally balance myself and regulate my nervous system really fast. And I know some of this was like triggering topics, so you might be feeling a bit tense. You might be holding tension in your body. So I just want both of us to release that tension, release that anxiety, and walk away from this video feeling a bit more clear-minded and a bit more confident to kind of just pour into ourselves and nurture ourselves in the way that we need, so that we can show up for ourselves and for others in a more authentic and a more present way. Find a comfortable seat, lay down if you would like, close your eyes if you're feeling really comfortable, if you're feeling really safe, if you're feeling really vulnerable. And once you're in that deep, nice, comfortable seat, I just want you to take a few moments to breathe in with me. Whenever you need, release it at your own pace, but release it audibly through your mouth. All right, so breathe in. Okay. Wow. I already feel better, but we're gonna do that 2 more times. This time, I want when you breathe in to really like breathe in and bring everything upward and kind of get really purposefully tense, so that when you breathe out, you can just do like a really big release. Like release it, sigh it out, scream it out if you need to. You know, I don't know what your situation is, but get it out of you, okay? So ready? Breathe in. Sometimes it feels really silly, like breathing audibly like that, but I love to do it because it invites a reason for me to like laugh, not feel so serious, and just like have a little bit of joy and like that kind of like childlike spirit. So that's why I'm encouraging you guys to like breathe out audibly. But for this last breath, I want to do a little bit more of an exercise. So we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, and hold that for 4 counts. We're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouths. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Release. Hold it. Whew. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel a whole lot better, a whole lot lighter, a whole lot, just like giddy. My heart has calmed down. It's not palpitating anymore. I hope you got something from this video. I hope you were able to hold this space for yourself. And I thank you so much for connecting with me this week. I know I mentioned in the last video that I had a little vloggy vlog. I have not edited it, but I do have a vloggy vlog. And I have not recorded anymore because I told myself I need to get out my first vloggy vlog before recording any more vloggy vlogs. I'd love to take you guys around with me, show you like a movement week in my life, things that I'm eating, things that I'm doing, and just ways that I'm pouring into myself so it can hopefully inspire you to pour into yourself in some ways. Love you guys down. Thank you for showing up for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.